In July of 2021, the Twitch streamer Hassan Piker played a YouTube video by JXE on his stream. This led to a dispute about the efficacy of using YouTubers' videos as content by reaction streamers. Later, in February of 2022...
A year later!
No, just over 6 months, actually. Anyway, in February of 2022, Jay would release a near 1 hour video examining the subject, re-sparking the discussion. Despite the pretty simple suggestions presented by Jay,
don't take the piss.
Just over 2 years after the initial Hassan-Jay dispute, the discussion has been brought up once again. This time, thanks to a streamer named XQC not providing a sufficient reaction to the YouTuber Lemino. Unlike last time, the streamer in question had a little chat with some other streamers and content creators, which led to plenty of ideas and defenses being thrown around in the verbal melee. In this video, I want to document some of the arguments brought up and discuss their worth. Let's set things up. React streamers are streamers that react to things. Okay, that's actually pretty self-explanatory. Theoretically, audiences come to these streams to see the host's reactions to, theoretically, anything that can be put on a computer screen. Games are one of the better examples.
Yeah, I'm gonna go outside because I've got 2 pieces of paper I want to put in the car.
Alright, I have the relic, but are we doing the deeper dive?
Oh dear.
Let's go. Jet action point plus whiskey. Yes, battle brew. You've become addicted to whiskey. Are you kidding me? Damage resistance plus 35. Fine. Let's just go for ultimate damage resistance. Ultimate damage resistance on top of damage threshold. Time to fight. Yes, it is. It's distinctly possible I've overdone it slightly with the drugs.
For the context of this video, React streamers have got into the habit of playing videos off of YouTube and other places. Despite the literal years of being brought up and discussed, their reactions, and by proxy their validity, are still being questioned. From audience numbers, to revenue streams, to legal copyright, this video is going to explore as many of the responses to these questions as possible, starting with as someone who's had to use YouTube's dispute and appeal system a few times, I can attest that copyright law is a tad murky. I'll probably make a video on it one day, but in short, Toho Limited came knocking and I knocked back. Anyway, when someone creates content, they own the right of copying that content, therefore giving them the final word on who can use it. However, this right of copying can be subverted in several ways, including using the created content for the purposes of review and critique, or significantly altering the content into something new, also known as transforming it. That's where React streamers come in. They take that original work, in this case a YouTube video, and plonk their face over it, adding their own unique responses and impressions to the video. But how much reaction is required to sufficiently transform a video? That is a good question, one with a very unsatisfying answer. A good reactor will constantly and regularly pause a video they are watching to offer their thoughts on what they just watched. This also gives the reactor's audience the chance to give their own feedback, doubling up on the reactions and reinforcing the community aspect of the stream. And if this was the norm, then there would be no issues, and this video wouldn't need to be made. Other, less good streamers will argue that pausing too often will spoil the video they are reacting to, which they are encouraged not to do by their audience. They will also argue that large chunks of the video need to play out to provide as much context as possible for their reactions. In both cases, this runs the risk of letting a video play for long periods of time without alterations, making the reaction stream less reactive and, more importantly, less transformative. Worse, nodding, facial expressions, simply being on screen, and in some cases not being on screen at all, are provided as evidence enough of reaction and transformation. This, of course, is
bullshit.
Not pausing, not reacting, not saying or doing anything, and not even being on screen are absolutely not enough to count as transformative content. This is often evidenced by the run times of recorded streams being as little as only a couple of minutes longer than the original video, showing just how little the reaction streamer has reacted. Surely then, if this is the case, the creator and owner of the video being watched can throw some legal weight around. Yes and no. A Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA, takedown can be enacted to remove the owner's content from the reactor's recording and prevent any future use by the reactor. However, this can be too little too late, which I shall go into more later. Beyond the tools at hand, most creators won't have the knowledge or resources to go much further. Even if they did, the law has yet to fully catch up with the comings and goings of the internet, even more so with this specific situation. So in the wild west of the internet, it's left to the websites hosting these streams to make their own rules, which aren't always helpful. For now, most content creators are relying on the good faith, moral judgments, and gentlemen's agreements of reaction streamers. Oh dear. YouTube is the perfect place for streamers to farm content from, with no need to pay anyone for anything, nor get permission from creators to use their videos. Streamers will argue that they act as content providers, curating and playing videos for their audiences like a human version of the YouTube algorithm. If the creator didn't like their video being used, the streamer can simply take the recording of their stream down and not watch that particular creator's videos again. However, they will point out that their audience might otherwise not find these YouTube videos on their own, either because the robotic YouTube algorithm wouldn't suggest those videos to them, or because the audience simply wouldn't consider watching them of their own accord. By using YouTube videos as content, the React streamer is giving their audience what they want: continuous, unabated reactions from the streamer, whilst simultaneously giving them content they didn't know they wanted to watch until it was shown to them. Simply put, reaction streamers will provide better advertisement for the creator's content than the creators themselves. In theory. Also in theory, all the good content that might be watched by people on YouTube is being farmed by streamers to play on their streams. This means, depending on the size of the streamer and their audience, hundreds or thousands of views are being taken from a YouTube creator's videos. These views are important to a YouTube video's reach, as they are one of the many factors governing the YouTube algorithm's incentive to promote a video. If these views are not being accounted for by YouTube, a video that might otherwise become popular and be pushed by the algorithm to a wider audience is hamstrung by streamers who use the video for their own benefit without consent. Some streamers would argue that consent is implied or given until retracted. And if I were them, I would be very careful who I say that to and when. The problem is, retracting consent that was never given after the fact doesn't stop the content from being taken in the first place, nor all of those people from having already watched the video without providing the precious views on the creator's channel. A lot of what I just said is hypothetical. Streamers might be helping creators by watching their content, or they might be hurting them. It's very hard to say either way, because the evidence is, majoritively, not there. But if streamers can't tell if they are helping creators they take from, and there's a strong, if unproven, possibility they are hurting them, is there some way they can make sure of the former whilst avoiding the latter? Indeed there is. This could and has been rectified by streamers promoting the videos they watch, the creator who made it, and even linking both to their audiences. This potentially provides free promotion of a creator's work, a mutual exchange after having had their content used for free, and possibly directs more viewers to their YouTube channels than otherwise would have been. But this is not always the case, with some streamers stating they don't have to promote creators, so they don't. See why I said, oh dear? There is one bit of evidence we can examine. Back in July of 2021, during his dispute with Hassan Piker, JXE provided this screenshot. It shows a spike of views on the video Hassan watched on his reaction stream. This was thrown around by short-sighted reaction streamers as evidence that Jay benefited massively, hugely, spectacularly from his video being streamed. But if you actually, look at the screenshot, you can see that of the 40,000 subscribers Hassan has, Yogg-Sothoth alone knows why, Jay received an extra 170 views for 1 hour. Hassan, one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, for some reason, played one of Jay's videos and not only benefited him a tiny fraction of his audience, but only provided that benefit for a small amount of time. However, at the same time, the view counts either side of the spike continued apparently unchanged, meaning, as far as we can tell, Hassan neither gave anything substantial to Jay, nor took anything away. Take from that what you will. There is another aspect to consider though, one that is a bit more clear-cut and harder to balance out. YouTubers earn money from people watching their videos. The more people that watch, the more views a video gets, the more money the YouTuber earns. When a streamer plays a YouTube video on their stream, that counts as one view on the video, regardless of how many viewers the streamer has. No matter how you look at it, that is taking views and revenue from the original video. Content creators can put insane amounts of time into making videos, from as little as the time it takes to record themselves talking, to months of finger-breaking, wrist-aching work. All a reaction streamer has to do is copy-paste a link and press play. The good reaction streamers do more than this, of course, but there's a reason why this video exists. For all the arguments I've heard about reaction streamers being irreplaceable, nothing will convince me that hours upon hours of work is more replaceable and less valuable than someone watching it. We are seeing high-effort content creation being taken and misused to fill the pockets of low-effort streamers. The video is the valuable content, not the streamer. I mentioned before, as part of a moral argument, that some streamers admit they will remove a recording of their having watched a video and not watch a creator's content again when asked. And I also pointed out this was too little too late. The audience has already watched the content and the creator has already lost the views. Any chance of those stream viewers having watched that video of their own accord has been removed. The stream viewers might watch the video again, depending on what it was like or about, but that's a big old question mark. Simply put, by showing a video to an audience but counting only as one view on YouTube, reaction streamers remove the initial value of the content from the creator and take it for themselves, sometimes without even realizing it. The easy solution to this would be for the streamer to pay the creator. Some do, but only when asked to, and only when the creator finds out the content has been taken. They don't pay the creator off their own back as a common courtesy. And just like the idea of promoting a creator's work, most streamers don't pay them, because they don't have to. It's like listening to religionists say morality doesn't exist without a god, thereby telling everyone they have no morals of their own. Taking something of value without permission or paying for it in kind is the actual definition of stealing. This video was created using information garnered from a stream recording on the Moolah YouTube channel.
The fact that those TikTok creators are all getting like 0 views, meanwhile Sniper Wolf gets all of them by reacting to all their content, that's happening because them on their own would never get any engagement because they're not good enough. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't
yes.
think they would. I don't think that somebody watching Sniper Wolf's channel, if she wasn't uploading those, I don't know if they would be on TikTok discovering those low view TikToks.
That's not the point either. Well, obviously my conclusion would be that they may be found someday, but for now they're not, and instead they're just going to get eaten by her. She can take advantage fully of that.
But there's another situation where it's just her gaining, and then her audience gaining. But if we axe out her gains and the audience's gains, that's it. We've just deleted.
Well, so what is the correction then? We can have her promote them, right?
Okay, wait, no,
The information isn't necessarily unique, as it has been parroted by other streamers on other streams, but this is where I got the majority of my quotes from. Does this mean I have stolen the content from this VOD? No, it doesn't, because I've taken the content, correlated the useful parts into this mess of quotes, reorganized them into categories, then sewed them into the narrative of this script. Simply put, I've turned the original work into a new one. I've transformed it. That's not to mention all the art assets I added in, or the additional clips and sound bites I shoved in for flair.
And I apologized back then. And they held on to the grudge. And then they made another video now. Another video a year later. A year later.
When I cover other people's work like this, there are a few kinds of etiquette that I feel it's important to stick to. Basically, don't take the piss. Don't take the piss.
This is actually an argument I used against Toho. When asked how much of their film I'd used in my video, I stated I didn't know, due to the way in which said film was heavily chopped up and edited to fit my work. Basically, my argument was I couldn't tell them how much of the film was in my video, and neither could Toho. If I remember right, I even invited Toho to look for themselves. The fact my video is live and visible should tell you the result of that. It's perfectly possible and reasonable to put the effort into transforming a work. Is it easy? No, but that's where the effort and, talent comes in. Is it worthwhile? Yes, because now information brought up in that stream has been presented in a much clearer format for people to reference. If a streamer ever happens to watch this video, they can avoid making the same arguments again and make new ones. Or concede, whichever makes more sense. And here is where my conclusion comes in. I often see discussions turn into debates on hypothetical scenarios and allegories, usually resulting in the small-minded getting confused or dismissing the arguments altogether. So let's ignore the what-ifs and concentrate on the what-is. Reactors aren't asking for permission nor providing compensation when using other people's content. They're not even letting creators know they are using their videos. And when reactors use creators' work, they aren't doing enough to transform it to even make what they are doing reasonable. This isn't all reactors, but there's certainly some notable names doing so. Enough to bring attention to the problem, which in itself is a problem. Right now, reactors and creators both have the power to make their own choices regards how these things should work. Reactors are currently the ones doing all the wrong, so it's up to them to do all the right. I'd put money down that there are plenty of reactors and creators working together and creating healthy environments for all involved. But if enough of these bad examples keep getting brought up, then how long until the wild west of the internet is railroaded and law is enforced? How long until the freedom of choice is taken away because of those too small-minded to know how to use it? I have made an addendum. It's like an aden, but dumb. Anyway, whilst making this video, a debate was had between the current content culprit XQC and another internet personality I'd never heard of before, H3H3. The debate was enlightening, to say the least. Points I've gone over in this video were brought up during the verbal duel, as well as useless whataboutisms and gotcha attempts. But a few things were brought up I thought needed addressing. The first is, I don't think XQC knows what the problem is. Not because no one told him, Yogg knows they've been doing that all the time. I think he simply can't understand the concept of usurping digital media, nor how fair use and transformation works. All you have to do is see his edit of H3H3's video to see how lacking in understanding he is. Saying that, whilst most of the debate was heavily one-sided towards H3H3, XQC did get at least one good point in, from what I remember anyway. H3H3 accused XQC of not getting permission to watch YouTube videos, and XQC asked him to show evidence, which is a good counter. This is the hypothetical argument come to a logical dead end. Guess all you like, but claims need backing up. XQC had a good point and strong argument, then immediately cucked himself by doing the exact same thing in reverse, claiming he did get permission, only for H3H3 to ask for proof of it. There was also a graph brought up, which H3H3 argued showed a decline after XQC used the related video. XQC countered the bell curve continued unaffected by his usurpation. This reminded me a lot of JX's evidential stats, and it also reminded me I didn't point something out about it. In both cases, the reactor watched a creator's video, and the stats on the video barely changed, if at all. I initially considered this a neutral point, as the content was neither positively nor negatively affected by the reactor. However, in further consideration, it's actually a negative and quite a telling one. Like Hassan before him, XQC used and abused someone's content, showing it to thousands of people, and that video showed no benefits whatsoever. meaning the reactor did none of the work but got all of the profit. And finally, that good old chestnut, the I don't care defense. I've heard it used before with regards to this discussion, and it raised its ugly head once again. As we all should know by now, if someone says they don't care, they are saying they aren't worth listening to. Which begs the question, why are people listening to XQC, Hassan Piker, and others like them? I'll finish off this addendum by saying I did try to be neutral and nuanced when analysing this subject, but there's only so much good faith and understanding I'm willing to give before you have to acknowledge some people are walking, talking shit piles. Anyway, dumb aden, over. Back to the scheduled content. Let's not end this video on a low point. Let's bring some positivity into the fold. There are better streamers out there who offer far more entertainment value. You can even find examples of streamers who are creators. I know, shocking. EFAP is a prime example of a group of creators turned streamers that take other people's content and react to it properly, transforming it. Emma Thorne plays games on stream and talks politics, religion, and other terrible subjects. Gopher, or Gopher Gaming, is a gamer-based streamer who talks current events sometimes. And Sir Sick, well, his stream is terrible.
How big is Sir Sick's penis? Right.
Wait, what? I walked into
Okay,
Sir
alright.
Sick's penis.
He won't let me measure it, so
No.
I have to like guesstimate. I actually do have a tape measure here, so I can guesstimate here. Right.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that you're supposed to measure from the base of your skull.
It's about
I've given these examples because it's clear the bad streamers aren't going to change anytime soon. Instead, we shall focus on their audiences, enlightening them to greater possibilities, and guiding them away from those that won't to those that will. Be the change you want to see, and all that. And if you don't watch streamers, that's good too.